Wake up. I have to think about this and deal with this pain. I've been dealing with this pain so long, and I don't think it'll ever go away. This truly was an accident, and if I could, I would trade places with my son in a heartbeat. I want to apologize to my family for having them to have to be here to see me experience and go through something like this. I feel like I'm living a nightmare. And I just want to appreciate them for supporting me, being there for me since day one, keeping me strong, family and friends. Today, Judge, Your Honor, I'm going to accept the time that you give me to become a better father, a better person, learn from my mistakes, get my education, become closer to God, and just prepare myself for when I'm released into the community, be a better person, and be successful in the future. I take responsibility for my action that led up to this. Never would I ever thought this would happen or wish this on anybody. Yeah, and I just want to apologize to my family having to put them through this.
That was well said, Derrick. You know, Derrick, you're a good person. You know, you've got a family that supports you. And you want to be a good dad, and, you know, you're a child of God. You've got a lot of upside. And I'm kind of getting tired of so many really hard sentencings and saying what a sad case. Well, this one is about as sad as it gets because we're talking about a baby. You know, just before I came here today, over the noon hour, I found out that my brother's daughter just had a newborn daughter. And it's just a joy. Innocent and very vulnerable. And how old was the child? What was the name of the child?
He was the third. He was just named after me and my dad.
Yeah, Derrick Young III, right?
Yeah.
And is about a year and a half old?
That's her.
And you're right, no matter what, or your attorney's right, no matter what the court does here, pales to losing a child, losing your own flesh and blood. But they continue to use and sell fentanyl with a child nearby. Those are the facts. That's what the court has to consider. That's how serious. I mean, is a homicide any more serious offense? A child is dead, who didn't ask for this, who didn't owe any drug money, who didn't decide to get in a car with someone who was drunk. This is a child that was just being a baby. So just to summarize again, Mr. Young was found in the basement of his sister's residence with 1,000 fentanyl pills on November 4th, cocaine, marijuana, firearms, and a large sum of cash. His son and another young child he was caring for were located on the bed in the basement of that residence and could have had access to the drugs or the firearms on that day. He was arrested at that time but bonded out a short time later. 6 months later, his son died as a result of having been exposed to fentanyl. And he acknowledged that both he and Ms. Putzlocker continued to abuse fentanyl at the time of his son's death. He may have found a pill. So what is the court supposed to do here? After this, the crime is so serious, the public has to be protected. Babies have to be protected. Children have to be protected. I could go on and bore people to death. How many search warrants have I signed where one fentanyl pill, killed a healthy teenager? do people understand? So what happens when a child dies because of this? It is kind of a Len bias case, but it's worse because Len bias, in those cases, again, like Nigrin, the person made the decision to ingest the drugs, and the purpose of Len bias is to penalize the person supplying the drugs, kind of a cause and effect penalty. No, the court never likes to impose a long prison sentence, but we live in a society where people have to be held accountable. I pulled this book out. I haven't done it for a while, Beautiful Mercy. The court wants to be merciful, and I'm touched by Derrick's statement, Derrick, which is why I'm sincere when I say you have the potential, and you're going to be out, you're going to be a young man, less than half my age, you're going to have all kinds of opportunities. But one of the chapters here says, mercy without justice dishonors everybody. And when somebody does something is reckless, not intentional, but is reckless, but still intentional to continue to engage in fentanyl use, then there has to be the appropriate response and the appropriate consequence. Now, the system has to be fair in how it treats people. So, Putzlocker, the mother, shame on her. What did she got, 10 years? Well, the court also has to look at the character of the offender. And I find a lot of good in Derrick, but character also talks about what you've done with your life, and you look at the past record. So here is Derrick's record, and where is that, is Putzlocker's record. Putzlocker apparently had a reckless driving, and that was it for her character. But what is Derrick's record? Robbery, battery, possession of THC, obstructing an officer, armed robbery, restrictive use of facsimile firearm, obstructing an officer, resisting, fleeing, taking and driving without owner's consent, possession of THC, second-degree sexual assault of a child, intimidation of victim, possession of THC as a second offense, possession with intent to deliver cocaine, possession of narcotic drugs. I didn't even read all of them. So see, that's the difference. She gets 10 years. He can't get 10 years. That would be unfair because he's got a record. A young child died because someone made a choice to continue to engage in this same behavior. Derrick, when you were arrested in November, that should have been the wake-up call. And you know, yeah, there are other people that are doing fentanyl. There are other people that have probably more drugs, but it's kind of like drunk driving cases, isn't it? You can be all pissed up and driving, but if you don't hit anybody and you get stopped or you pass out in your vehicle, you get the guidelines on a drunk driving case. But what if you're driving, maybe not all that drunk, but still under the influence, and you hit somebody and that person dies? Then it's a whole different penalty. And then we're talking significant prison because of misfortune, wrong place at the wrong time. So here you got the fentanyl pills, thousands of fentanyl pills, and a baby dies. So that's, the punishment has to fit the crime. But the state's asking for 15 years. I'm not going to impose that because Derrick, I find him to be sincere. I don't know what the defense would have been, but he pled out, he accepted some responsibility, and I think he was thinking about his family because they lost a nephew and a grandson. They lost the baby that my son and his family is going to treasure going forward, right? So court will do the following here. And I think I can do this because the neglecting a child where the consequences of death is a repeater. So in file 21 CF 1913, possession of firearm, it's 2 years initial confinement and 2 years extended supervision. And then count 3, possession with intent to deliver narcotics, 5 years initial confinement, and 5 years initial extended supervision. Count 6, possession with cocaine as a second and subsequent offense, 1 year initial confinement, 1 year extended supervision. That's what happened on November 4th of 21. That'll all be concurrent. And to make it simpler, I'm going to run 22 CF 1160 concurrent. The court will impose for the neglecting a child 13 years initial confinement and 10 years extended supervision, and that'll run concurrent with file 21 CF 1913.